Hey, Hal, what's going on? What's happening with women's sports?
All right. Groundhog Day?
No, it ain't no Groundhog Day.
Okay.
You got jokes?
No. Nah, I don't have any.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying Coco Gauff is killing them in women's tennis right now. She is 6-0. She beat us 6-0 and 6-2 in a 3-set match.
Who is her?
Coco Gauff.
No, who's the one she beat?
Ostapenko?
Ostapenko.
Yes. So
what was the score?
It was 6-0 to 6-2.
6-0, 6-2?
Uh-huh.
She whooped her.
She did. She really did. And like I said, she's won 16 of her last 17 matches. The only loss recently being the one where she lost in Wimbledon. So she's been doing really good, and I think she's facing some stiff competition with Carolina Mukova.
Mukova, yeah.
There we go.
Mukova's playing right now.
Okay.
She's winning. She just won her first set. She'll probably end up meeting her in the semifinals, I think, because they're all playing.
Right.
One of the cool things about this year that people probably need to know. Was you finished with what you were saying?
No, I'm fine.
Because he's in the she-man woman hating club. With that being said,
I only don't like the WNBA. That's it.
You're a hater.
But I'm fine. I've been researching and I done found some favorites.
We might need to spend a few minutes talking about
that.
Hater.
We will. We absolutely will because I found some stuff that I like.
Here rolling their eyes.
Because the women that you've been telling me about wasn't about nothing. I went and looked up those stats and I was like, why are we talking about them? Like really, we were talking about I don't even know. I can't even make a comparison for who you were talking about in women's basketball that you were telling me to look up because I was
Well, we're gonna spend a couple of minutes before we get to our guest about that because I need you to go ahead and make sure that you redeem yourself, especially when it comes to
you need to redeem yourself.
WNBA.
I don't know what you looking at.
Oh God! But one of the cool things that's happened this week. The first time in the Open era, 4 Black American players reached the quarterfinals at the major tournament. So the major tournament is the U.S. Open, and the 4 people were Frances Tiafoe, Madison Keys, Ben Shelton, and Coco Gauff. All 4 of them have made it to the quarterfinals.
Right.
That's a good celebration because that ain't even a sport we see black folk in.
Right.
What you think about that?
We have here recently, but we getting more and more. Like you said, we got the Serena sisters. They really, I kind of did the Tiger Woods effect for the tennis sector. But Madison Keys, I want to talk about her a little bit because she won her matches against Jessica Pegula, 6-1 and 6-3. And she beat her in just over an hour. So that was a really fast match.
Fast match.
She made light work of her. She put her out really easy. So she was really killing them.
So Coco, if she meet Coco Gauff, it might be.
But that don't mean nothing. On any given day, somebody can get smashed out like that. Maybe that girl was just having a bad day.
But you know about tennis to even use them words.
I know about sports. You don't need to know about tennis to know on any given day anybody can win. We just saw, and I'm not saying anything bad about Colorado, but switching to men's, but we saw TCU get beat by Colorado, where what's his face is coaching prime time.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, on any given day, and I'm not saying anything bad, but we got a lot to see from that program. Even though they made a good standing, you don't know if that was a fluke or if TCU was having a bad day.
I don't think that's a fluke.
I don't think
Deion Sanders.
I don't think it's a fluke either. I really don't think it's a fluke either. But I'm just saying, but you don't know. We got to see a lot more because that was just the first game of the season, and everybody came out hype, and I think they came out there and stunned them. But we're not talking about that right now. But I just wanted to say about Madison Keys how she went out there and just really smashed Jessica out there, like I said, just over an hour. That was fast. And she made a lot of her points on her first serves, and she only had a couple back and forths that didn't go more than 2 or 3 back and forths where she scored points. So she made real light work of her. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to her because
the funny thing is I went to check on tennis because I was gonna watch Coco Gauff play this morning. It wasn't this afternoon, and that's when I saw that Madison Keys was still in. I was like, wow, we just talked about her last week. I hadn't seen her anywhere. And here she is in the she's in the quarterfinals. And then she plays actually tomorrow at 6 p.m. and she's playing in the Arthur Ashe Stadium, which is the biggest stadium in Queens for tennis. So good luck to her. I hope she wins.
Right.
And especially because she's not playing an American. So
right.
It's America first. So.
Absolutely. But yeah, so she's playing. I can't get these names, y'all. So bear with me on these Eastern European names. But Sabalenka.
Kinka, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
So yeah, I'm gonna do more research on these names so I can pronounce them right, not have everybody scratching their heads about who I'm talking about. But yeah, so a lot of good stuff going on in women's tennis right now. A lot of exciting matches coming up. So we got to see how everybody fares. It's gonna probably be some big changes. I mean, based on these matches here that we were just talking about with Madison Keys and Coco Gauff. I mean, those are some big matches coming up. So, that might shake things up. We don't know. We're gonna have to see. It's gonna be fun to see how this turns out for next week. Next week's show might not involve a Coco Gauff or a Madison Keys, unfortunately, because they're coming to give some stiff competition. When you start getting up to that level, it gets harder and harder to win.
That's true.
But I have all full faith that they can pull it out. But like I said, we'll see.
Yeah, any American girl can make it. Hopefully they do.
Right.
The other thing is basketball. Women's basketball is getting ready to go into playoffs.
Yes.
Right now, the number one team is the Las Vegas Aces.
They're the winners from last year, right?
Yeah, they were the champions from last year.
I told you I've been researching.
Now, see, I'm a fan of the Las Vegas Aces because Sydney Colson plays for them, and she's a good friend of Savannah. So. Okay. And plus, I like the Las Vegas Aces because they are just flat out just a dang good team. Mm-hmm. But let's spend a few minutes talking about you in this women's basketball because he is the biggest hater in America, along with another young man that I'm going to bring on the show soon because he's jerkish. And it really makes me mad. So what did you learn? Let's talk about what you learned.
What I learned. Who did you tell me to watch? You told me somebody to watch Sky or something like that. You told me to watch someone.
It wasn't Skylar Diggins.
No. Is she even still playing? She done had a baby and everything. She's still playing.
She's still playing.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know.
She's coming back. I think.
No, she needs to stay. She don't need to do that.
But you hate her.
Yeah, that's a lot of time, man, between playing basketball and I'm not saying anything bad about that. But anyways, you told me to watch somebody, pay attention to somebody, and I wrote it down. It was in my phone, and I unfortunately forgot my phone today.
I wish you would have remembered. But go ahead.
I don't think it worked good for you if I remembered who you told me to look up. But anyways, the Seattle team. What is the team called? The
Seattle. Storm.
Yeah.
Storm.
So Storm has a player. I think her last name is. I'm looking at it right now. Jewel Lloyd. Jewel Lloyd or Jewel Lloyd. I'm not sure. That girl is killing it. She's number one in the WNBA in scoring. She is the number one scorer in the WNBA. She has more points per game in the WNBA than anybody.
But maybe I didn't pay her any attention because she's not an Aces. Maybe that's what the problem is.
I need you to be a WNBA fan, not a player fan, okay? All right, see, this is why I can't trust you. I need you to be looking at the whole sport. You're going to talk about the WNBA. I need you to look at everybody out there playing, not just your favorites, just because you like the color of their jersey or, I need you to be paying attention to the whole league because, like I said, who you told me to watch, I was like, this girl's averaging like 6 points a game, a half a rebound or something. I was like, man, this girl ain't nobody to be looking at. Why are we... What's the hype? I was like, I know this kid.
Talking about from South Carolina. She plays for the Aces. And I met her. She was on the group with me with the.
That's okay. I'm not talking about your friend, but I'm just saying, you got a personal history with this person. I'm talking about looking at the whole league. That's fine. You got a good personal history. That's fine. She's a good role player. But we ain't talking about role players. We need people that are exciting to watch and pay attention to. And that girl Jewel Lloyd is somebody that I had never heard of because I was like. When you told me that person, I was like, "This got to be a joke." So I went to the top of the leaders in the whole WNBA to start trying to find people that I could look at. And there was another girl there that plays. What's the girl's name? It's a white girl that plays for.
She played with Savannah. Again and back. I meant to tell Savannah. Yeah, you a hater.
What name dropping that girl? Let her chill in peace.
As a matter of fact, Savannah will be here this week.
Good.
She looking at a girl from Ada, Oklahoma.
She can say it's Savannah.
Shut up, you hater. I'm gonna put my connects out there.
Who does she play for? Who does that girl play for now in the WNBA?
Ain't it the Aces too?
I don't know. Let me just go to the players. I don't know. I gotta go. I didn't bring my dang phone.
What is her? I cannot think of that girl's name, but she's pretty good.
Yeah, she is killing it. She's even better than the girl that I just said. I mean, she doesn't have more points than her, but they're close. And then she's got more rebounds, more blocks, more assists than the other girl. The other girl's just a scoring machine, and this girl is actually more well-rounded. So I was just like, this girl is killing. I need to start paying. I started watching their highlight reels, and everything. I can watch this. I can watch this. We need to see more of that. That's what I want to see.
But that's my whole point. You've never wanted to do that because you've always just been a jerk to women's basketball.
I still am.
You a hater.
That ain't gonna change overnight. But what I do say, when I started looking, because today I started doing some research, digging deep into the stats. So what I found out, and this is probably a reason why the WNBA, and this is what they suggest, is probably not, is that the reason why it's not as entertaining is because there's no disparity. The players are capabilities are more closely aligned in the WNBA than the NBA.
Which makes for good basketball.
So in the NBA, we have Steph Curry that's scoring 31 points a game.
Which makes basketball boring.
I think he's beating the next person by like 4 or 5, 6 points. Like it's so big between the men's highest scorers or the best athletes and the bottom one, where the women is not as big of a gap between the top players and the bottom players, skill-wise or athleticism.
Which tells me the reason why you need to watch women's basketball is because that's how good the skills are compared to men. I go to a Thunder game, I'm going to take a nap. I wasted season tickets sleeping in the up in the rafter because I don't want to see all that dunking. In women's basketball, you got nothing but fundamentals, and now you're learning, and I'm so proud of you.
I don't like you patting me on my chest like that doing a radio show. That's a little disrespectful, but we're gonna say you're entitled to that. But I'm just saying, like when everybody's closer together in competition, it makes for a less exciting game. It's like going to see 8-year-olds play.
Oh,
it is. I mean, everybody's close to. No, I'm not saying women's basketball is close to 8-year-old, but I'm just saying, not watching. I'd much rather watch WNBA than the 8-year-old. Come on now. But I'm just saying, like between the skill level, when you out there, everybody's so close. Nobody's developed yet. Nobody's breaking out yet at that age group. That is you there for support and you there to develop their skills. And so the WNBA, they already developed, but everybody's so close in skill level that it's making it. That it makes it not as exciting to watch for the men. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? We got this Jewel Lloyd. She's killing it, but she's still not far enough away from the players that are underneath her. And while she is exciting to watch, because I watched the highlight reel, and I enjoy watching them games.
Well, this just goes to show you that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Because
that was close.
So my whole point is, that's the way you look at sports. Some man that's just constantly dunking the ball, that just bores me half to death. And I know using Mama Season's tickets to go see the Thunder and falling asleep. So women's basketball is way more greater than you would ever know until you start spending some time with us.
I mean, that's your cup of tea, but I'm just saying, I like
man hating club.
I found some players that I like, so I'm glad I got away from you and your doctrine and your associates, your close friends that you like to pick on. But I went and found some, so I'm on a different path now. I'm gonna go find some good players and watch the WNBA and try to see what's going on here.
Okay.
Because I'm really interested to see what's going on.
I'm glad you learned something.
To be honest.
Positive, because you ain't had nothing positive to say about women's basketball. But today we got some special guests in here.
Yes, we do.
And the special guests, we got the Cathey family in here.
They
are a wrestling family. Got into it. I'm going to let Mom and Dad kind of explain how the kids stumbled up on this. And the special thing about this is these are girls.
Yes. And
these are champion girls. I mean, some winning girls. Not only just that, we also have a referee in the Heather. Coach Jimmy Jones. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves, kind of tell a little bit about themselves, and then we'll go into asking a lot of questions because we got a lot of questions for. I was an Ellie Mae Clampett. I'm going to say that because I want y'all to know. If y'all don't know who Ellie Mae Clampett was, she was on Beverly Hillbillies.
Showing your age.
And she was a tomboy. And I was a tomboy, but I wasn't a fighting tomboy. Y'all tough. If y'all can go physically with somebody, y'all pretty doggone tough. So we're going to talk about a lot of that. So when I say Ellie Mae Clampett, I'm referring to being tough. Okay. So, y'all ready? Let's start with Dad. You the coach, right?
I am a coach. I am a junior high, Tulsa Union junior high assistant coach. I coach at Team Tulsa Youth Wrestling Club. I also coach football, but we're talking about wrestling.
The girls sport.
Girls wrestling.
Girls wrestling, yes.
Yeah.
What? Say your name.
You gonna let your dad do it? Okay.
Cathey's with me. She is a girls wrestler. She's going into her 8th year of wrestling.
Wow.
At 11 years old, she's a multi girl state champion, national champion, open state champion as far as boy. She wrestles boys as well.
Go ahead.
Win.
I also have
Go ahead.
my oldest daughter. This is Cathey. You talking? She is she is one of the I guess you can say pioneers of wrestling for Oklahoma. She's with that first group of girl state champions. She's a 3-time state champion out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. One of the first ones to get a All-State award. Went off to wrestle at Missouri Baptist. So wrestling is what we do. We got into wrestling because of my son. He started wrestling, and this one asked me every day for a year if she could wrestle. And at the time,
How old was she?
4.
Wow.
How old is she now?
They're letting them
11.
wrestle
Yeah.
that young?
And how old is the oldest?
18,
18, 19?
So at the time, Kimora was doing beauty pageants, and
What?
we were doing going to Texas and doing these pageants or whatnot, and so I was a little nervous when she was asking me to wrestle. I'm like, man, no, I'm not arguing with someone. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then, like for a year, she asked me every day, Dad, I want to wrestle. I can beat him. I want to wrestle.
I can beat him.
I'm better than him. I want to wrestle. And then so one day we were getting ready, Rayshawn, and we were at North Mabee Stampede, and Coach Mike, Corbray, and Coach Phil, we were all in a room, and they were like, let her wrestle, see what happened. We got a little dude that plays pretty good at state, and she drug him all over the room.
Wow.
And so we had to go buy her wrestling shoes that night.
She was hype. She was hype.
That's good.
Man.
That's how we got started.
So there's a lady here too with you.
That's my wife. That's my right-hand man.
Hey.
There you go.
My best friend, so she
I want a
helps.
man to tell me that.
She helps cater us around all the United States, whatever. But that's how I'm able to do what I need to do with the girls.
That's cool.
That is.
And Mom, you're a cheerleading coach too, right?
Yes, I am. And I'm a wrestling coach also. I just yeah. So I just started coaching at Union this year also.
Wrestling?
Girls wrestling.
Girls wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
Cool.
yeah. So I managed the stands. You know, I got kicked off the floor a few times. So
Oh, you can relate.
Yeah, I know.
yeah. So I have to do my due in the stands, but keeping everybody together, that's what I do.
Ah, good.
Good. I'm a fans in the stand too. I was a crazy mama that always lived on the edge of being thrown out the games. People wouldn't even sit with me. They'd be like,
Facts.
is that you? No, move over there.
Yes.
They want nothing to do with me.
Yeah. It's okay. I like being by myself.
Yeah,
I can
I
say
do too.
whatever I want. I don't have to worry about nobody looking at me crazy.
For real.
I'm
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So the man at the end, what's your name?
Jimmy Jones.
Now, how do you factor into this whole situation?
I referee wrestling. This is my 27th year. 22 in Oklahoma and 5 in Missouri.
5 in Missouri. So, and I learned about women's sports through you, women's wrestling through you.
Yes.
And he ended up hooking me up with the Cathey family and it took me down this rabbit hole. So we decided to have them here this week to talk about women's wrestling. And when did women's wrestling actually get started?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Well, women's wrestling has been around for a little while. As far like I want to say 1998, I believe, is the start. But don't quote me. I might be wrong, but it's been around for a little while.
Wow.
But
I didn't know that.
I think the first year they had it in the Olympics was 98, I believe, as far as women's wrestling. I think they had 4 4 weights at the time. But yeah, it's been around. But within the last 6 years, it's exploded. It's like I say, I want to say it's 43 states have sanctioned high school wrestling for girls. There's not very many D1 wrestling yet, but they're up and coming. NAIA is big for girls wrestling. So if you
And you said that was the biggest, right?
NAIA and JUCO for
Wow.
girls college wrestling, and that would be freestyle. So freestyle is like your Olympic style wrestling.
Right.
Are your girls trying to train toward the Olympics?
Olympics, no. I think we was just getting through high school, trying to get this free education.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, on the other hand, I think she has big goals. She says she wants to compete in the Olympics, win the Olympics, and make a name for herself.
You got it.
Well, if you go on the Referea page, I don't think, but it may be on mine, Heather Nicole Nash, you'll see the two girls. They are pretty. They definitely are beauty pageant looking.
Yes.
But they'll kick your butt, so
Right.
Don't mess with them.
Right.
I wouldn't.
So I wanted to ask, what did you see the trajectory of women's wrestling going? Because, I mean, to me, it's just kind of sounding like the beginning of the WNBA. Remember, women only played European. We didn't have a WNBA league here in the United States for women. And then the last, 15, 20 years, it's exploded into what it is right now. I can actually see women's wrestling getting bigger than that. Like, I mean, because it's more accessible and,
women's wrestling is going to explode, and it's going to continue to explode.
Right.
As soon as the women's wrestling reaches the D1 level, it's going to be
right.
At one point in time, they were talking about taking the wrestling out of the Olympics, and then they boycotted and whatnot and got it back, and then girls wrestling came shortly after that. The explosion came shortly after that. So you get your youth wrestling girls that when they do wrestle, it's not a lot of girls in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have 4 or 5 girls in the room, but they're wrestling boys.
Uh-huh.
And now it's getting to the point where you can go to a wrestling room and you might have 13, 14 girls in the club.
Wow.
Man.
Union. I coach a union. We
I
digress. My bad. Our numbers in the wrestling room for dudes out of high school are amazing. And just across the state, I think it's like anywhere from 70 schools that offer girls wrestling just in Oklahoma.
Wow.
So I mean, it's growing. And like I said, you might go to a tournament on a weekend and you might have 6, 7 girls in your bracket.
Wow.
It's growing.
That's cool.
See, last week, when we were talking about it last week, I was so shocked when she brought up women's and girls wrestling. I was like, when did this start? Because I absolutely had no idea this was a thing. Like, I really didn't. And he says it started in 98. That's when I graduated high school. So after you graduate high school, you ain't paying attention to the Olympics and stuff like that. You got other things to be doing.
Right.
But so that's crazy that it started that long ago. I mean, I heard bits and pieces about women's sport. I mean, we had the WWE, and I know that's a different thing. That's an entertainment type thing. But there was a little bit of women wrestling then, and there was women's boxing was coming up too, kind of back then, and that's kind of died off. But I was really shocked about girls. Like, I could understand the women's a little bit more, but girls in middle school and high school, I was just shocked. I couldn't.
Girls these days are built different.
Right. Yeah.
So
clearly.
You put them. You can put them in any sport that a boy is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'd rather coach a bunch of girls than coach a bunch of boys.
Oh, that's beautiful.
At any day.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
I would rather ref the girls.
I don't doubt
Why
it.
is that?
There's more technique, less muscle, and less stalling. It's all technique, and they'll wrestle from the time you blow the whistle till you end up blowing the whistle to stop it.
Well, I'm glad you two are here. 2 men that are involved in women's wrestling. What does it look like for you all? What does it look like in the world for women's wrestling? How do you all see it? How do you see it?
For me, wrestling, I know my daughter, so we'll take Kamora on the hand. So when we go to a national tournament, Kamora wrestles boys. So Kamora is known around here, around Oklahoma. She's just as good as most of these boys, if not better than a lot of them. So when you have a national tournament and you have all these boys come in from out of state, and she wrestles, and you hear the parents. Don't get beat by no girl. And then race is always a big thing. Don't get beat by no black girl. Whatever.
Yes.
And she goes out there and pins him in 30 seconds. You know, it is what it is. So I mean, it's always, you know, you want to protect your children at first and foremost.
Absolutely.
But I've always told my girls, if you go out there and wrestle your best from the beginning, you know, you ain't got nothing to worry about. So if you always got to remember, when you wrestle a boy, and the boy's gonna give you the best he got right now, because these all boys have been taught, don't get beat by no girl. You know what I mean? So if you can weather the storm, you can stay in there and fight with it.
Right. Yeah. And they underestimate too. I bet a lot. They go in there. I see. Girl today.
And then they hit up on their back.
Right.
There,
right.
You know what I mean? It is what it is. So.
Right.
So what do you think, Coach Young?
Well, in the last, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years, it's exploded girl. Like he said, wrestling for girls has been around quite a while, wrestling boys. But to wrestle girl has really exploded. That does take away, I've seen where boys will walk out on the mat and shake the girl's hand and then walk off the mat. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they won't wrestle a girl.
Oh, man, come on now.
So they'll just lose the match?
Yeah.
What?
I've seen boys lose a duel because they come down to the last match and they wrestle a girl and the boy won't do certain things, so they would let it go and end up the duel would lose even though he won his match. But now at least it's more fair with girl wrestling. The competition's there and it's continuing to explode.
Good.
That is really good.
So how, as a mom of watching girls wrestle, what do you...
Watching your former beauty pageant girl go to...
That's why I said be at the very top. I say a lot of words to myself. No, I think it's great. It's cool to see her. You know, you always want your kids to do better than you. And when you put them out there, you expect for them to do their very best. And I always tell her, you know, we don't take no L's. We don't lose at all. We are always learning, you know. So whether you go out there and get your hand raised or you don't, you learning. You know what I mean?
Right.
You learning what you should have did, what you shouldn't have done, what we can do better, what we need to improve it at practice. You know, it's always learning. So just to see her progress, that's the most satisfying for me. Whether she wrestles a girl or boy, I don't care. Just go out there and give your best, do your best no matter what. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what their color is. You do your best. So at the end of the day, you know that you gave all you had, and that's all I can ask for. So.
Amen. So what age do they stop wrestling boys?
Well, that's a gray area. As of right now, you got some of the girls that strictly just wrestle boys. I think there's more competition for a girl that wants to go on to college in wrestling boys. It's only going to help you. But until the competition level of more girls get to where it's competitive, it's more competition on the boys' side for her to wrestle boys than it is to wrestle girls. But the competition only going to get better.
Yeah. Right.
But as far as what age, I think puberty has a big difference in boys and girls.
Yes.
I always tell my daughter she can compete with anybody. I don't care. But there's a time and place where you gotta pick your poison. You know what I mean? And then you always gotta look at it to where, when is it going to be safe for us to walk away gracefully without getting hurt? You know, safety is big for me. You know, the boys, when you get to 100, 130 pounds, whatever, it's more of a muscle mass than so you got some boys that are strictly just trying to slam you instead of wrestling. So
girls,
you have to get to that
they
point
got a
where
point
you
to prove.
Well, right. I mean, but go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
So it's a safety thing. So
right.
When you get to preteen, I think it's time to just focus on girls and sharpen your craft and whatnot. But
right.
Any time from 6 and under to I say 12, I say you wrestle.
Right.
I feel like there's no difference. You just go wrestle. But I want to say most of the leagues around here are making you choose now. You can't wrestle boys and girls, so you got to do one or the other.
And high school's going to that too.
Yeah.
High school.
So girls. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Now,
no, let them wrestle. That's what we're here for.
Even in high school.
Whatever. If you listen,
I agree and I disagree.
if you feel like you can get out there and you can compete, go do you. If you don't feel like you can't compete, because 9 times out of 10, you're wrestling a lot of the same people over and over and over. Because we go to these backyard tournaments, we see the same people. You know,
Right.
you getting better,
Especially the girls.
Yeah, and you closing that gap. You know, so if you feel like you can't handle it, you know when you're at these smaller tournaments. Don't go to the national level trying to wrestle boys if you know you can't handle it.
Right.
You know, but I mean that's just how I see it. If you can handle it, go out there because there is some girls out there that I've seen that can hang.
Yeah,
My daughter
for sure.
being one of them.
Right.
You know, she can hang. And then there's certain
Both of them? Or
Taisha
would
Taisha could.
I think Kaisha.
Hold on.
I think she would do way better than what she give herself credit for.
Right.
She's a hell of a competitor. You know what I mean? She's a smart wrestler, so she's not just gonna put herself in a bad situation. You know what I mean? So I think she would do a lot better with, like I say, the muscle mass. You know what I mean? There is a difference when you start getting to these upper weight classes or whatever.
We talked about
And that's what I was gonna say, because when I used to do Taekwondo with Police Athletic Program, Marvin Blades, and all that, so we used to do that, and I did that for a long time, 10+ years, and so we grew up with this girl named Audrey, and it's crazy. Girls have their strength and their power when they're younger. So they could go out there and whoop up on the boys, and she gave us the business. Like I'm telling you, she whooped all of us in tournaments all across the country. I mean, all across the state, all across the region. She was beating boys, and I'm telling you, up until one summer, we come back from that one summer. You know, that's all it took. The puberty hit, 13, 14 years old, and she was no more a match for us. I mean, but she was still tough. Now, don't get me wrong. The girl was still tough. She could take the hits and stuff like that. But her hits weren't affecting us like they used to. And it only took that one summer, just that one bump, and it was a complete mismatch. You know, and so I agree with Dad on that, and I agree with you too. I mean, you gotta weigh, because some girls are gonna have a little bit more strength than other girls. You know, so you don't. It's not a blanket statement to say, like you said, you just gotta know when to do that, and the girl's got to feel confident with her strength and her abilities.
Is the key.
Absolutely.
If you go into the match second guessing yourself, you don't need it. You don't need it.
Exactly.
because that would be me.
Yeah.
As soon as I said no,
Well, every competitor stepped into a match with something like yeah.
I feel like wrestling is a confidence thing. So if you step on the mat and you willing to put your offense on the line and you be the aggressor, I think you got a better chance of winning. So if you scoring first, I think statistics say that if you score first, 75% of the chance of 75% of the outcome, you win that match.
Right.
So I mean, if you are on the offense so like Kimura, she hesitates sometimes, and she's great on defense. But if she attacks a little more, it helps her out. If she attacks those boys, puts them boys on her defense,
right,
so she can run her offense. It's just a little better.
Right.
But
I'm just really
watching.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but thinking about since he's talking about defense and all that, that's fundamental. That's technical. You deal with that all the time, Coach Jones. So what do y'all look for when? I know it's probably the same thing when girls play and boys play. What if a girl wanted to be a wrestler? What are some of the things that they're looking for? And anybody can ask that, but I was going to ask you first. What are y'all looking for, and how do they score?
You talking about score-wise?
Yeah, when they're on the mat.
When they're up on their feet, when they take them to the mat. When they take them to the mat, it's 2 points.
It's 3 points now.
Not in the youth yet.
It's coming.
We do a lot of the 1 point college rules, but we're doing a lot of youth. 1 point for escape, 2 point for reverse, 2 point near fall, 3 point near fall. Near fall is 45-degree angle at 4 inches of the mat, 1 shoulder on the mat. Locked hands is a point against you.
So you can get points against you? Oh, wow.
They're not really against you, they go to the other player. I mean, you
Wow.
don't lose a point.
So what would cause that?
When they're down on the mat, your hands are grasped, overlap.
Oh, okay.
This is considered locked hands.
Yeah, if they're grasping or overlapping.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's a foul
Oh.
Oh,
for
wow.
the top person.
Okay. So, Kaisha, you played in college. How did that go? I mean, so listen to this, because girls are going to college. How'd it go?
I mean, it was definitely an experience. I loved it. I loved my team. It's definitely a drastic change from high school to college, especially because in high school I did folk style, and then in college it's just strictly freestyle, and it's two different completely styles. I had fun. It was a little, it was fun.
So, where did you go?
I went to Missouri Baptist.
Missouri Baptist. And that's the NAIA, or is that and that's the largest one. How many girls were on your team?
I say we started like about 30, and then we ended up with
Wow.
maybe 20, maybe.
Did
That's
y'all
still a
wrestle
lot.
boys?
That's a lot.
Practice.
The good thing about our my school was the boys and girls team, they got along very well. So if the girls wanted some extra practice, we can go to the boys' practice and practice with them. Or if they wanted some extra practice, they can come to our practice. Or if we all just feel like we wanted to work out, we could all just go to the gym and work out together. So we really had a choice if we wanted to wrestle the boys.
Okay. Now, I'm going to bring her name up. Savannah, my daughter, played. And one of the cool things I noticed when she was being recruited was, and since y'all had brought up about girls wrestling boys, they all play. Their practice teams are boys teams, which is kind of cool because, and I have to go back, I got to give men their homage, even though sometimes I am in the hater club.
Thank you.
But I think men do make us better and stronger.
Yeah,
They
most
honestly
definitely.
do. Yeah. So, because they do in women's basketball, and women definitely, my daughter actually recruits men all over the campus to come play the girls in basketball, and they get all the perks that a player would get except for the being on the court. So they make these girls better. A lot of times they're not even looking for women to practice with girls basketball. So I get that. So did you take advantage of doing it?
Oh, no.
I'm not trying to get body slammed.
No, it's not even that. It was just, I was wrestling 191, and then the biggest one on our team was almost 285.
Ooh.
Yeah, we tried to wrestle, but it's just,
Once
I
again,
can give
there's a
it
difference.
120%, and I'm still no match.
Yeah, and I learned that about an alligator. And I shared that story last week, but it told me I had no business attempting to wrestle the alligator. It was like wrestling a man. No, you can't do that. You got to know.
I'm
when
glad
to
you were
shut it
smarter,
down.
yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't have no relatives there that night either. So when these wrestling matches happen, where are they happening? How can people come see women wrestle?
Yeah.
Okay, well you got youth wrestling that's about to start up, and you got local tournaments. Local being anywhere throughout the state of Oklahoma, and it's two tournaments every. You got the east side tournament and you got a west side tournament. So you got a tournament this side of the state, or you got a tournament in Oklahoma City area every weekend. Saturday, Sunday for the most part. Saturday for the most part. You got your national tournaments that you got probably the biggest youth tournament, Tulsa Nationals, Tulsa Kickoff. Kickoff is coming up. Kickoff is October. It's coming up real quick. And the Tulsa Nationals is probably the biggest youth tournament in the States.
Okay.
And everybody come to that tournament.
And where is that one held at?
Pavilion.
Wow.
21st in Yale.
Y'all got to make sure I know that, because we'll definitely come.
Yeah, I'm writing it down
I'm
right
going to
now.
have them back on the show.
And we go to that faithfully.
Oh no, y'all two can't be together. Oh no, I gotta put an end to that.
I'm gonna just tell you, watching girls wrestling and watching wrestling period for you to go watch somebody that you're invested into is an emotional roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Just watching somebody grab your kids, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's it's a lot of highs and ups and downs.
Yes.
So you got to be able to weather the storms.
Yeah.
Right.
Coach Jones has shared with me some video of some mamas in the stand, one whole clutching,
Yeah.
one going out
Yeah.
to the mat. I mean, mamas go crazy.
Yeah.
I seen that. Coach Jones, on the backside of wrestling, if somebody wanted to be, you ref wrestling matches. So on the backside of how often are you throwing out mamas?
Throwing out any parents?
Never.
Do you throw out parents?
He never.
I don't throw anybody up in the stands, but we never feared the dads. It's the mama coming out of the stand, throwing her hair to the side.
He's a great ref. I have to say he's repped a lot of Kimura's matches. I mean, he goes all over. So when we get to a tournament, if we see him there, it's just like, we know that there's going to be some great reffing because he's fair across the board.
Whether she's winning or losing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Don't call it the same way.
Right.
And if
That's
you
good.
have questions, you want to know what's going on, he doesn't mind breaking it down for you to understand. He's very fair. That's what I.
Well,
That's
one thing I
crucial.
can say
That's
about
crucial.
Coach Jones is he is the rule book follower.
Yes.
He's with the kids at the school. I already know.
Yes.
I know he's a good, fair guy. So these fans in the stands, I got to ask this to coaches.
I'm a coach.
I know all three of y'all are. So I'm directing this to all three of y'all. Because I harass coaches. I harass coaches and I harass the refs. So one question that I'm going to ask, do y'all ever listen to the fans? As a coach and as a ref.
As a coach, you hear the fans, and then you always like if you put when you coaching and little Johnny don't do what you tell him to do, and his mom's or daddy and behind you yelling this, that, and other, you should have put him up. You should have put him on top or whatever. And sometimes in that situation, you know that we practice a certain move. Hey, this is what we do. This is why we do what we do, whatever. And then so he might not be no good at it, but it's a local tournament. You want to see him grow his fundamentals. So this is why we do what we do. And so you bump heads with the parents sometimes, but eventually the parents come around.
So you don't listen.
I don't listen.
I didn't think so. I told her that. I was like, they ain't listening.
I don't care.
I told her that. I said,
I
they
think
don't
one
listen
thing
to
that
that.
parents have to remember is that when you put your kid out there, you are entrusting your coach, your kid with that coach. So if you do not trust me as a coach, take your kid elsewhere.
Okay.
Right.
If you trust me, allow me to help them grow and be the best that they can be.
Okay.
That's the best
That's
way.
a good, fair
That's-
answer.
Yeah, that is.
As a referee, if he comes up and wants to talk to me, he can call me to the table and I'll talk to him. The rule is, if he's questioning the rule and he's wrong, it's unsportsmanlike conduct warning right then. I don't ever give that. I don't care if he asks me a question. I'll give him the answer. But leave it at that. Don't just continue harping on it, because when I start grinning, hey, you're going to stands.
Right.
The parents are the ones that really get out of control. They, especially in the novice, they'll come down and think they know it all. And they just want to harp and harp and harp.
Right.
And what we tell referees, especially the new ones, don't look at a coach, don't look at a parent. You look at those two wrestlers, and that's the only place you look. If you look at that coach, he figures that he's going to start intimidating you, especially as a new ref. And you don't look at him, you ain't got to worry about it.
So do coaches, do they get to coach? In tennis, they don't get to coach on the court. Do they get to coach on the mat?
We coach the entire time.
Wow.
They stay in their corner.
We sit.
You can stay in the corner.
Sit mat
So
side.
it's like boxing.
Wow.
So you got a ring. So you got where the kids wrestle at, and then you got the corners of the mat. So one coach will be over here, one coach will be over here, and you got a score table, and then the referee and the kids will be out on the mat.
Gotcha.
And you get to talk to the kid?
Oh yeah, we be yelling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've seen some of it.
He yells. Kamora said
It's
he
so calm right now, but he gets at it, huh?
Well, Kamora, now that you decided to talk, you got something, go ahead.
Well, go ahead. No,
No, go
she's
ahead.
talking. No, she's like, no, not now. I was going to ask the oldest, though. So since you got experience in being an athlete, being a wrestler, have you thought about joining the ranks of your parents here and becoming a coach yourself?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
I love the sport. I don't want to stray too far away from it.
Yeah,
I gotta.
Referee pays.
right. He's a referee, plays better.
Coach Jones said referees pay better.
Probably the most dangerous job in the sport, though.
I'd rather coach.
Right.
That's good.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Coaching is fun, especially when you can get that group of kids, a group of girls that don't that it gives them a purpose. You know what I mean? It gives them a chance to be a part of a team, and you can watch that group of girls blossom into being something great. So that's why I do what I do.
So the NCAA has a commercial. It's one of my favorite top 10 commercials. It talks about people might not have that. I do.
Top 10 commercials.
Top 10 commercial. But this commercial talks about most athletes go to college to play a sport, but they don't come out as playing a sport. What did you plan on doing after you left?
I mean, I was always wrestling just for the opportunities that I knew it would bring me. So, like,
False.
Ignored what he said. It wasn't my choice to wrestle. Let's get that
There we go.
But then I started to, I fell in love with the sport or whatever. And, I got along with my teammates.
Force.
Yes, by force. It was all him. But then I realized I can go to college for it, and I was like, oh, okay, for education, I'm gonna do that.
Yes.
And then now I'm just exploring more. I'm exploring more.
So what do you want to be?
I want to be a cosmetologist.
Oh, cool.
Good.
And Kamar, I know you don't really want to talk. You acting all shy, but can you tell us what you won? What have you won? I mean, she's sitting here with a jacket. I mean, it's got pink,
all
pink,
kind
pink,
of stuff on
white,
it.
white on it.
Yes.
She done whooped some butt in the country. I mean, it's a Letterman's jacket.
Right.
This is a college Letterman's jacket.
Man.
So tell them you're a state champion. How many times have you won state?
How many times have you won state?
7.
7 times.
Ooh.
7.
Girl.
Wow.
7.
For girls and
2.
2 for boys.
Open state.
Wow.
She done beat the boys, y'all.
Wow. That's nice.
And last year she did boys and girls. She got first in boys and girls.
Was this in the national?
No, she's in boys state. She's done that twice.
Wow.
Man.
She's won nationals, folk style nationals once. She's finished folk style nationals second, 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row, whatever it is. Nationals, freestyle nationals, she's won it. She's finished third and she's finished second. So this year was probably her best year. I've seen her compete overall. She won pretty much every tournament. She was one match away from winning the first ever Triple Crown for the girls. Came up short in Spokane, Washington. But she went out there and she competed.
Hey, that's how you lose. Go compete. Yeah, that's still an experience. Cool. That's still, hey.
And you get to travel. You go, girl. And here's the thing. You mentioned something. Losing. How does that make you feel when you lose? Because you are a champion. Your jacket definitely says that. How does it feel when you lose?
It's a bit upsetting, but like my mom said, you win some and you lose some, and it's a lesson to learn from. So it's just like, if you lose, it's not a big deal, but if you win, it's a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now
like,
tell the truth.
I don't like to lose.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. I really love that.
But if you lose, okay, so
If I lose, there's always another tournament I can go to and get my get back and win. But once I lose that match, I'm mad. And then once I'm mad, I don't lose anymore.
There you go.
she
I like
makes us
that.
way better.
I like that.
Cool. So you've lost, right? How does that feel?
Yes. I don't take too kindly to losses. I don't like losing at all.
Good.
No. But my dad, he used to tell me, you got 5 seconds to be mad, and then just let it go, and then go to the next match.
That's it.
Move on.
That's it.
Let it go.
Be mad.
I wrestled, and like it was like the finals one time, and I lost, and I was crying. I just kept crying, and it was like 5 seconds to give it all out. So I just cried into his shoulder, and then after that, I went up to my mom, and I don't know, something about my mom. Whenever we go to the stands, my tears all just come out. Every single time I lose. I go up there, she gives me a little pep talk every single time about it's okay, you did good, you did awesome. And then once we get home, we watch my videos and watch what I did wrong. So that way next time I wrestle them, I can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And then beat them again and again and again.
And these are people you getting to get back on?
Yes.
So in the world of of wrestling. It's small. Do you travel too, Coach Jones? Yeah. So you can see them in Spokane, Washington?
No, I don't go that far.
Oh.
I've done like Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma.
Oh.
Wow, where have y'all gone?
We've been to every state that touches Oklahoma except for Nebraska, except for Colorado and New Mexico.
Wow.
We've been to Iowa, we've been to Nebraska, we've
Texas,
been to Texas, Washington,
Louisiana.
She got it down.
Nevada.
Just keeping score.
So, travel, that gets expensive. Is wrestling what's the money like? Because we need to be talking about this. Because there might be a girl that you all spark into this.
You really got, depending on your room costs. You got a club cost if you wrestling club, and then you have every tournament you register for is out of your pocket unless you got a sponsor.
Okay.
But you got hotels you got to pay for. You got travel gas that's not free, and so you got your tournament costs. Tournaments might be anywhere. If it's a national tournament, it might be anywhere from $50 to $100 to register for the tournament.
And then
But
travel.
Your local tournaments are going to be 25 or 15 to 20 bucks depending on what type of tournament, what they're offering. So you got different type of awards that for first place you got belts, you got rings. So it's just depending on the type of award is the more money it'll be. But national people pay for your national tournaments. The bigger awards there are your national stuff. Like I say, those tournaments are $100 every time we go.
Wow.
And also, what he's failing to tell you guys is that Kimura, she doesn't just wrestle in one division.
So you're playing for multiple divisions. Wow. So that
Like we went to
It was
Missouri, and she wrestled 6 divisions.
oh,
So I mean,
that's a long day.
That's 6 feet entry fees, right?
Yeah. Wow.
and
So
she came out with 5 champions in the second place.
wow.
Money
Good
well
for
worth
you.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well
So
worth
you got
it.
your money. And
Win or
you
lose,
get
to be
back.
honest. Win or lose, to be
Yeah.
honest, because the experience is.
No, what
Not
did you say
win
in
or
the
lose.
beginning?
I know.
We don't take losses.
I mean, I get.
Wins and wins.
I get you.
Wins and learn.
But,
Wins and learn.
but losses teach you how to win sometimes.
Lose, you learn.
Yeah, you learn and you lose and you
More
learn.
from that loss than you will to win any day of the week.
Yeah.
Just that again.
You'll learn more from that loss.
Yes.
than you will from that win.
Exactly.
Every
Exactly.
winner you gotta lose.
Right.
There's stuff that when it really counts,
Right.
you're not catching it because you're winning.
Right.
But when it really counts and they get it, you done lost.
Mhm.
It's a learning experience.
It's-
Tell you,
Right. Give and take.
What you work on.
Right.
tell you this: if you can make it in a wrestling room for a year, you'll be able to do anything in life.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not gonna be able to do much because I don't think I can make it in the wrestling room, especially against this one.
That wrestling room is going to teach you it's gonna teach you,
Right.
partners. It's going to teach you how to accept loss. You know what I mean? How to move forward. And because some tournaments you wrestle back. What are you going to do after you take this loss? How do you recover from this loss? Are you ready to wrestle? Are you know what I mean? Are you still dwelling with this wrestle and it's time to go again?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta forget.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to keep moving forward.
I
Right.
think you also learn a lot about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
If you
How-
do multiple
if you're willing to-
divisions,
yeah.
you can't get no time to sit down. You gotta have the water on the floor, and then you sit on the floor, and then up again.
Mm.
Then
Wow.
on the board, get your ankle bend, and then you're on the mat. But one thing that always gets me hype is me and my dad's handshake.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, dang, I hate we can't go much longer. The show's coming to an end, but we are definitely going to
Man.
have y'all back on because we want you to be on with some gymnasts to talk about because there's a crazy transfer of gymnasts rolling over into women's wrestling, and we want to definitely talk about that. And that sport is actually just coming onto the scene in the college level, too. Matter of fact, I think it's Fisk and Tennessee State that just got new gymnastics teams. So, but I do want them to come on with that. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about your awards when you come back on. So, just so y'all know, this is the Cathey family. They're pretty famous around the country for being a winning family. And then there's this crazy, wild referee that hangs out with them sometime in other states, Coach Jones, and that's how I ended up meeting the Cathey family. But we're going to bring them back on to talk a little bit more about wrestling, because this is a good topic to be talking about when it comes to women's sports, because it's out there and it's been out there. Yes. And
before we leave, I got to say I couldn't do what I do without a couple coaches, Coach Kyle McGill, Coach Gerald Harris. Those guys.
Oh, Gerald Harris.
To my daughters.
I know Gerald.
Before a lot of other people did. So without the support system of those guys,
might have to bring Gerald on too.
They believe in
Gerald is too busy.
Yeah, I know he got comedy and everything else.
Gerald got too many jobs right now.
He got restaurants.
Yeah. He doing everything. Well, hit us on the. I'm actually gonna post y'all's videos. I was stealing off your daddy's page. Post them on the Referea so that people can see y'all in action.
Too many videos.
Yeah, I saw one where I was like, look at her looking like Rocky. She's letting me put on the ground. Coach Jones showed me one.
That's where I happened to blow the whistle. I
was like, I think that boy is slow now. Well, we're going to close out the show. This is the Greenwood WFPG. You'll see us next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
That's
and
right.
We'll have them on here in the near future. Y'all have a good night. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
told her, I said, let me tell you why he's